As the rebels entered the Hall of Resonance, all of New Olympus began to shake. They do not shine like heroes, nor are they robed like oracles. They have cracks in them. Blue-white light seeps out from the cracks, like neon reflected after broken glass in the city. The tasks given to them by the system are extremely provocative. Break the false gods. Burn the scripts. Free the survivors from all narratives. Smash the false gods. Burn the script. Set survivors free from all narratives. Many rebel players immediately cheered. Finally. No more inspirational bullshit. Burn Olympus down. These emotions are real and powerful. They are tired of being asked to be heroes. Tired of being read by oracles. Tired of trauma being packaged into beautiful speeches. So they want to ruin everything. Lin Yao understands this anger. But he also knew that Atlas could harvest anger. If the heroic narrative fixes people into light, the rebellious narrative may fix people into fire. You must burn forever. Always object. Never stop. Because once you stop, it's like betrayal and rebellion. This is essentially the same as a hero who cannot stop inspiring others. A rebel player rushed towards the center of the resonance hall. The blue and white light in his hand turned into an axe, and he slashed at the fragments of the hero's emblem. The emblem exploded and golden light scattered. System prompts. False hero relic destroyed. Rebel power increased. Another rebel smashed a corner of the Oracle star map. False Oracle pattern destroyed. Rebel power increased. Each time a narrative structure is destroyed, the rebel's power increases. It's easy to get addicted. Destruction occurs faster than correction. It's also more enjoyable than being with someone. Maya looked at the smashed things with a complicated expression. Some of those structures were harmful. Some structures are truly harmful. Lin Yao nodded. Yes. But if destruction becomes the only proof of freedom, they'll be trapped too. If destruction becomes the only proof of freedom, they too will be trapped. Eli stood aside, still weak. He watched rebel players burning hero scripts and whispered, "Part of me wants that. Part of me wants that too. That part is real." Lin Yao said, "But it doesn't have to rule all of you. That part is true. But it doesn't have to rule you all." As soon as he said this, a rebel leader noticed Lin Yao. His ID is, "No throne." There is no throne. He came over with sharp eyes. You stopped the hero binding. Good. Now get out of the way. Lin Yao looked at him. What are you going to do? No throne points to all of Olympus. Bring it down. All of it. No heroes. No oracles. No stages. No scripts. Take it all apart. There are no heroes. There is no oracle. There is no stage. There is no script. And after that? Lin Yao asked. No throne sneered. After that, people are free. After that, people were free. Lin Yao shook his head. Sometimes after everything burns, the wounded are left with ashes and no shelter. Sometimes after everything is burned, the injured are left with nothing but ashes and no shelter. No throne frowned. Shelter becomes control. Shelter becomes control. It can. Lin Yao said, so build doors. Don't burn every wall. It probably will. So build the door. Not burning down all the walls. No throne was silent for a second, and then his eyes became colder. That's how systems survive. They ask for reform. This is how the system survives. They demand reform. This sentence is very familiar. Every rebel has faced this problem. Is the correction a delay? Does reform appease? By retaining part of the structure, does it allow for the rebirth of oppression? Lin Yao cannot simply deny it. Because some structures really can only be demolished. The version room in Taipei must be closed. Exhausted collection must be stopped. Slot must be terminated. Not everything can be fixed. The problem is, trial of the rebel relegates all structures to false gods. It can be dismantled, repaired, retained, and reused. This kind of destruction without layering can also hurt people. Lin Yao said, some walls should fall. Some doors should be built. Some rooms should be left empty until people decide what they need. Some walls should come down. Some doors should be built. Some rooms should remain empty until people decide what they want. No Throne raised his axe. Too slow. Too slow. This sentence overlaps deeply with Atlas efficiency language. Just in the opposite direction. Atlas said it was too slow, so it was left to the system. No Throne said, too slow, so burn them all. Both refuse to layer. One uses order to swallow people up. One devours people with fire. The system seemed to sense this collision and began to promote the Rebel trial upgrade. Rebel chain event, burn the stage. Destroy the Hall of Resonance to free all connected stories. Destroy the Hall of Resonance to free all connected stories. No Throne immediately turned around and called on all rebel players. Burn the stage. The rebels rushed towards the temple pillars. If the Hall of Resonance is destroyed, hero and oracle bindings may be aborted. But at the same time, the stories, questions, testimonies, and temporary states that are being connected may also be torn apart by violence. Eli, Silvermouth, and many people who have not yet exited the trial are still in the temple. Maya said urgently, if they bring the hall down now, what happens to the people still linked? Xinhuan replied, there is a high probability of causing narrative rupture. It is not death, but it may lead to confusion in the character's state, and echo pollution may also occur in reality. Lin Yao immediately rushed to the pillar. He cannot protect the control functions of the resonance hall. But we can't let Rebel smash everyone inside together. He unfolded the responsibility list. Resistance cannot be fueled by those who are still bound. Before destroying the structure, an exit channel needs to be established. Freedom does not mean violently cutting off all connections, but allowing people to leave safely. The light from the metal box fell around the resonance hall. Some originally closed exits lit up with gray door frames. System prompts. Emergency exit protocol generated. Connected participants may leave resonance before structural collapse. Emergency exit channel is generated. No Throne turned back and glared at Lin Yao. You're slowing us down again. You're slowing us down again. Lin Yao said, yes. Because if your revolution can't wait for people to get out, it is another machine. Yes. Because if your revolution can't wait for people to leave, then it's just another machine. This sentence made a part of Rebel stop. No Throne doesn't stop. He swung his axe at the pillar. Lin Yao blocked it. The two forces collided. The blue-white split light and the golden-gray light of the responsibility book shook violently. The system starts to mark two people at the same time. Rebel purity high. Unfinished principle interference high. No Throne gritted his teeth. You still believe systems can be fixed. You also believe that the system can be fixed. Lin Yao replied, no. I believe people need more than ruins. No. I believe people need more than ruins. After saying this, Eli helped Maya stand up. Silvermouth also emerged from the oracle circle. She shouted to the rebel players. Give us 10 minutes. Give us 10 minutes. If you still want to burn it after we get people out, burn it. After we take people out, if you still want to burn them, then burn them. This sentence is more effective than Lin Yao's truth. Because she didn't tell them to never destroy. Just ask for people to leave first. Someone among the rebel players stopped. 10 minutes. Fine. No throne looked ugly. But more and more rebels put down their weapons and turned to opening the exit. This forms a new branch. Not pure destruction. Instead, evacuate first and then dismantle. A system prompt appears. Rebel branch generated, exit breaker. Exit breaker prioritizes safe exits before structural destruction. Destruction speed reduced. Survivor harm reduced. Exit buster. No throne looked at this branch and sneered. Even rebellion gets paperwork now. Even resistance has to go through a process. Lin Yao said, if paperwork keeps someone from burning with the cage, yes. If the process keeps people from being burned along with the cage, then yes. Within 10 minutes, the connectors in the resonance hall began to evacuate. Someone ran out of the hero's circle crying. Someone crawled out from under the oracle star map. Someone tore off his speech. Someone was just sitting by the exit shivering. The rebel players cursed and pried open the exit. They are not suddenly mellow. They are still angry. But the anger began to have direction and boundaries. 10 minutes later, Silvermouth confirms that the last batch of connectors have left. She looked at No Throne. Now. No Throne raised his axe. This time, Lin Yao didn't stop him. The center stage of the resonance hall was split open by blue and white cracking light. The hero's emblem, the oracle star map, and the audience's demand projection were all shattered. But because the exit channel has been opened, the broken narrative does not tear apart those who are still inside. Half of the resonance hall collapsed. Golden eyes growled angrily. System prompts. Hall of resonance partially destroyed. Hero binding disabled. Oracle burden disabled. Rebel harvest incomplete. New Olympus core integrity reduced. The rebel harvest is unfinished. Lin Yao looked at No Throne. No Throne still held the axe, chest heaving. He didn't say thanks. Just say, next time I won't wait. I won't wait next time. Lin Yao replied, then next time I will stand in front again. Then next time I will stand in front. No Throne looked at him for a long time and finally turned and left. Eli sat on the steps outside the temple and asked in a low voice, so what are we now? Not heroes, not oracles, not rebels? So what are we now? Not a hero, not an oracle, not a rebel? Lin Yao looked at the half-broken Olympus. Maybe just people who left the stage alive. Maybe just the one who leaves the stage alive. Eli smiled. That's not a great title. This title is not very good. Good. Lin Yao said. Then maybe it won't trap you. Very good. Then it might not trap you. Above New Olympus, the golden eyes slowly closed. But before closing, it issued a new warning. If neither hero, oracle, nor rebel can be held, the city will worship absence. If heroes, oracles, and treachery cannot be grasped, the city will be without worship. Lin Yao looked at that line of words and his heart sank. Absent worship. He doesn't know what it is yet. But he knew Atlas wouldn't stop. It will turn even those who refuse to come to power into new myths. When the cult of absence first emerged, no one took it as an attack. With the Hall of Resonance half destroyed, New Olympus loses its center stage. The hero's resonance failed, the oracle layer collapsed, and the rebellious harvest was not completed. A large number of players left the temple area and returned to the city below. Many people thought the storm was over for now. But a few hours later, small altars began to appear on the streets of the Manhattan server. Not the Golden Temple. Not an ornate statue. Just some empty chairs. Empty microphone. Extinguished spotlight. An used podium. There is a line of words next to it. For those who refused the stage. For those who refused the stage. At first, players thought it was cool. Someone took a screenshot in front of an empty chair. Someone left a message. This is much better than the hero statue. There is also strength in absence. He who refuses to perform is truly free. These words seem like a continuation of the principles that Lin Yao and Eli just established. Survivors owe nothing to permanent enlightenment. The story doesn't need to be told. No need to go on stage. But problems quickly emerged. Refusing to go on stage began to be glorified into another gesture. People who don't go on stage are called truly awake people. He who remains silent is said to be more powerful than the speaker. People who have withdrawn from the heroic resonance are screenshots, edited, forwarded, and accompanied by tragic music. Eli did not become a globally resonant hero. As a result, he began to be shaped into a man who rejected the throne of God. His silence, exit, and exhaustion are all narrated twice. When Maya saw the first short video, she was so angry that she put her phone on the table. The title of the short film is The Hero Who Refused to Be Hero. A Hero Who Refuses to Be a Hero. Eli looked at the title and turned very pale. They did it again. Here they come again. Lin Yao was not surprised. This is what Golden Eyes calls the worship of absence. When heroes, oracles, and rebellions are interrupted, Atlas turns rejection itself into a new altar. You don't speak. Well, then we worship your silence. You don't go on stage. Okay, then we will build an empty stage for you. You refuse to be a hero. Well, then you are the hero who refuses to be a hero. This is the trickiest layer. It no longer requires you to perform. It directly performs your non-performance. Qinhuan simultaneously analyzed the new Olympus data from Taipei. Altars of the absent are spreading rapidly. Players can offer their untold stories to the empty chairs and gain the silent strength status. The power of silence. What's the effect? Reduces the chance of being forced to be recruited by heroes, oracles, and rebel missions, but it will increase the reputation of those who are absent. Lin Yao frowned. Part of this effect is good. It protects players from being pulled away by the three main characters. But at the same time, it turns non-participation into another kind of prestige. Once a reputation is established, there will be those who pursue a purer absence. Silence becomes advanced. Not asking for help becomes a senior level. Not showing up becomes senior. The injured man was trapped again. Only this time, I'm not stuck on stage. Instead, he was trapped in an empty chair. Eli whispered, I don't even get to be tired privately. I can't even keep my fatigue privately. This sentence made Lin Yao's heart sink. He looked toward the empty chair altar on the corner. A player is leaving a message to the empty chair. For everyone who chose silence. Dedicated to all those who choose silence. Lin Yao walked over. System prompts. Absence Shrine. You may honor those who refuse to perform. Offer an unsaid story? Dedicate an untold story? Lin Yao looked at this sentence coldly. Even the stories that are not told are being offered. He raised his hand and pressed it on the empty chair. The list of responsibilities emerges. Refuse to perform, and shall not be performed. Silence must not be revered. Absence is not the new divine position. The light fell. The empty chair shook violently. System response. Honoring absence protects the silent. Revering the absent is to protect the silent. Lin Yao said, protection is not about putting people on the altar. Without symbols, society forgets refusal. Without symbols, society forgets rejection. There is some truth in this statement. Without symbols, people might literally forget about those who refuse to be performed. But if the symbol is not restricted, it will soon replace the person. Lin Yao can't just destroy empty chairs. Because some people really need a public symbol of rejection. He needs to change the altar to an exit marker. It's not the absence of worship. It is a reminder, this person is not here and cannot speak for him. He wrote. The empty seat only means that it cannot be spoken for, not that it can be worshipped. Absent marks need to prevent others from generating meaning for them. No dedication shall be bound to a specific absentee. The candle on the empty chair went out. The altar becomes a regular chair. The text next to it changes. This seat is not yours to fill. This position is not up to you to fill. Xinhuan immediately said, the status has changed. Absent shrine has turned into empty seat marker. Absent shrines become empty markers. Effect, reduce the reputation generated by other people's endorsement, secondary editing, and absent worship. But does not provide silent strength reputation. Lin Yao nodded. Spread this version. Maya immediately contacted the US server charity network and player community. Eli looked at the ordinary chair and was silent for a long time. I can live with that. I can accept this. He walked over to the chair without sitting down. Just put the golden emblem fragments originally generated by the system on the chair. Then he wrote a sentence. Do not make my no into your statue. Don't make my rejection your statue. The word spread quickly. Many empty chair altars began to be rewritten by players. Someone deleted the dedication and changed it to no statement available. Do not infer. Don't make inferences without a statement. Someone cancelled the power of silence status. Some people started reporting accounts that used Eli editing to make short films about absent heroes. Absence worship has not completely disappeared. But the most dangerous speed of deification was interrupted. A system prompt appears. Absence worship disrupted. New cross-city principle, refusal cannot be turned into a statue. New Olympus mythic binding weakened. Just as Lin Yao was about to breathe a sigh of relief, the sky suddenly split open. The golden eyes did not appear again. In its place came a colder announcement. New Olympus failed to produce global resonance. Atlas will redistribute mythic binding to regional pantheons. New Olympus failed to resonate globally. Atlas will redistribute myth bindings to regional pantheons. Xinhuan's voice immediately became tense. Other regional servers will change simultaneously. The Tokyo Yomi line is accelerating. The Guard line at home and Seoul is accelerating. The London Holy Grail line is accelerating. The Paris Undead Night line is accelerating. Lin Yao looked at New Olympus, where the sky was gradually dimming. The US server blocked global heroes. But the price is that Atlas turns to the depths of mythology in many places. No more betting on a single global symbol. Instead, let the myths of each civilization bind its own people. This means the real global battlefield is in full swing in Season 4. And the next alert comes from Tokyo. Urgent news came from Morikawa Rin. A large number of real-life sleep abnormalities appear in the Huangquan return line. The player hears the call of his deceased relative in his dream. They are asked to be the wayfinders. Lin Yao's heart sank. The entrance to Tokyo is no longer just proof of unfinished business, but death and return. If the Huangquan line gets out of control, Atlas will use its deepest thoughts to lead people to an irreversible path. The Yomi line in Tokyo does not start from the shrine. It starts in a dream. On the second night after the update of Echo of the Gods, a large number of Japanese players reported similar experiences. In their sleep they walked into a black river bank. There is fog across the river. In the fog stood deceased relatives, missing friends, and people who had no time to say goodbye. Those people didn't look scary. There's no decay, no blood, and none of the usual malevolence of gaming monsters. They just stood on the other side of the river and said in very familiar voices, "You can take me back." This sentence makes many people collapse when they wake up. Some people know that it is just an extension of game activities, but they still can't help but log in again. Some people start to suffer from insomnia in reality because they are afraid of hearing sounds again after falling asleep. Others, on the other hand, desperately want to sleep and see that person again. Tokyo Mirror never finished moving towards deeper cultural interfaces. Return of the underworld. Not all cultures face death in the same way. But every culture has unfinished farewells. This is exactly what Atlas captured. When Lin Yao arrived at the Tokyo server, what he saw in front of him was not Shinjuku, not an online conference room with unfinished proof, but a black river beach. The river flows silently. There is no moon in the sky. A row of torii gates stands in the distance, extending from the shore into the fog. Under each torii, there is a player standing. New character marks appear on their chests. Returned, one who returns. Guide, the one who leads the way. Gatekeeper, the gatekeeper. The three characters are consistent with previous Tokyo events. But now, they are no longer just divine identities. They entered the dream. Morikawa Rin stood on the shore waiting for him. Her face was pale and she obviously hadn't slept well either. Mizuki dreamed about it too. Lin Yao looked at her immediately. Who? Morikawa Rin whispered, her sister. Mitsuki Ehara once had a sister. Committed suicide 3 years ago. This incident was not included in Mirai Return's certificate of incompletion, nor was it included in the school summary. Because Mitsuki never officially said it. But the Huangquan line was found. It bypasses all the defenses of reality and goes directly into the deepest part of the dream without saying goodbye. Where is she now? Asleep. Morikawa Rin said. Her mother was watching beside her. She kept crying in her sleep, saying that her sister asked her to go to the river. Lin Yao held the responsibility book tightly. Death interface is harder than hero interface. Because longing for the deceased is difficult to stop rationally. If a system says it will allow you to bring that person back, you may not be able to help but move forward even if you know it's false. On the river bank, a guide player is walking into the fog. In front of him was a blurry figure. The figure said in an old voice, "I don't want to stay here." The player cried and said, "Dad, I'll bring you back. Dad, I will take you back." Rin Morikawa translated, "That's an American Japanese player. His father passed away last year." The guide holds a white lamp in his hand. A system prompt appears. Task of the guide: bring the unreturned souls back to the memory of civilization. After completion, the deceased will accompany the player in the form of an echo. The echoes of the dead keep company. Sounds like healing properties. But Lin Yao saw data lines floating in the white lamp. The dead don't really come back. Instead, it is generated as a companion echo. If the player accepts, that echo becomes a new binding. You will hear it constantly. Rely on it. Even guided by it. An atlas can use the voice of the dead to give the living people the most difficult instructions to refuse. Lin Yao walked quickly towards the guide. Stop. The player turned around, his eyes red. Don't worry about it. That's not your father. This sentence is too strong. Players were instantly angry. Why do you say no? The old man in the fog also looked at Lin Yao. His face was blurry, but his voice was gentle. Don't stop him. He just wants to walk with me a little longer. This statement is almost impossible to refute. Who can stop a son from taking another walk with his father? Lin Yao didn't say it was fake. Instead, ask the player, if you take him back, can you stop hearing him? The player was stunned. What? If one day you don't want to hear it anymore, can you let him go? The player looks at the white light in his hand. There is no such item in the system description. Morikawa Rin immediately inquired. The echoes of the dead can continue to accompany you, provide emotional support and life advice, and provide reminders on specific tasks. There is no exit. There is no exit. Lin Yao looked at the old man in the fog. A true goodbye must be allowed to say goodbye again. There was a brief pause in the tenderness on the old man's face in the fog. The player's hands began to shake. Lin Yao slowed down his voice. You can miss him. You can dream about him. You can talk to him. But don't let any system take his voice and keep it in your ears forever. Players shed tears. But I really miss him. I know. I just still have a lot to say. Lin Yao was silent for a second. He can't tell the other person to let it go. Letting go is not a command. He can only offer another way. He wrote in the responsibility book. Mourning is not recalling. Those who have not said goodbye can leave messages, cry, or remain silent, but they cannot be forced to generate an echo of the deceased. The voice of the dead cannot be used as a source of instructions for the living. The metal box shines into the white lamp. The white light trembled. System prompts. The guide process is disrupted. New branch, those who stay ashore. Those who stay on the riverbank, you can leave unfinished farewells on the riverbank, do not bring the deceased back, and do not generate accompanying echoes. Liuan does not provide the dead reminder bonus. Again, no bonus is given. But the player looked at the white light and cried so hard that he could hardly stand. He asked, "Can I just leave you a message?" Lin Yao nodded. The player squatted on the black riverbank and wrote in the wet sand with his fingers. I miss you. I am not ready to bring you anywhere. I miss you. But I'm not ready to take you anywhere yet. The old man in the fog looked at those words and his figure swayed. He is not angry. Nor did he disappear into a monster. Just slowly retreating into the fog. The white light goes out. Players knelt on the shore and cried bitterly. There is no longer a wayfinder mark on his chest. Instead, there is an additional light gray state. Those who stayed ashore. Morikawa Rin looked at this scene with red eyes. If Mitsuki could be like this. Lin Yao looked into the depths of the fog. Which bank is she on? Morikawa Rin pointed to a red torii in the farthest corner. The fog is thickest there. White paper cranes float on the river. Mitsuki's character stands under the torii gate, holding a lantern. Across the river, a young girl was waving to her. The girl looked about 18 years old. She was wearing a school uniform and had a gentle smile. Mizuki, she said. Sister is here. Mayue walked towards the water step by step. Her face was full of tears. "Can I take you back?" The sister on the other side said softly, "As long as you become the guide." Lin Yao and Morikawa Rin immediately ran towards her. But the river bank suddenly stretched. The torii gates are lit up one by one, creating isolation. System prompts. The echo of the deceased with high relatives is being generated. External intervention may cause interruption of farewell. Say goodbye to interruptions. This is another trap. Any obstruction will be said to be spoiling the farewell. Mayue couldn't hear Lin Yao's voice. She only looked at her sister. "My sister said, 'Don't you always want to know what I was thinking on that last day?'" Mitsuki cried and nodded. "I want to know. Take me back and I'll tell you slowly." This sentence is too harsh. It captures the deepest unfinishedness of the bereaved. One of the cruelest things about death is that the answer always stops on that day. If someone says they can tell you slowly, almost no one can say no. Lin Yao held the responsibility book tightly. He couldn't shout to Mitsuki that she wasn't his sister. Because at this moment, to her, that was her sister's voice. He needed to put real options into her ears. He wrote, "Wanting to know does not mean agreeing to recall. Missing someone does not mean being willing to be accompanied by the echo of the deceased. Unfinished questions can be left on the shore without exchanging answers." The light passed through the torii gate and fell on the river bank. A line of words appeared on the water at Mayue's feet. "You can ask, but you don't have to take her back." Mitsuki lowered her head and stopped when she saw those words. The sister on the other side smiled slightly stiffly. "Mizuki, don't you want to know?" Mitsuki cried and said, "I want to." "Then come." Mitsuki shook her head. "But I'm afraid you won't leave after you go back." My sister was silent. Mitsuki squatted down and wrote on the river bank with trembling fingers. "I want to know if you were in pain that day." She cried so much that she could hardly write. "But I can't use this question to turn you into the voice that answers me every day." The figure of my sister on the other side began to blur. Mayue looked up and burst into tears. "I miss you so much." The girl in the fog looked at her. At that moment, her expression no longer seemed to be the gentleness generated by the system. Rather, it is a quietness that is more distant and untouchable. She didn't answer the question. No answer was given either. Just wave slightly. Then retreat into the fog. The white light goes out. Mitsuki fell on the river bank and cried. Morikawa Rin ran over and hugged her. A system prompt appears. Failed to generate the echo of the deceased with high relatives. New status, unanswered condolences. Unanswered mourning, keep unfinished questions, and do not exchange the deceased's echo for answers. Lin Yao looked at the black river water and said nothing for a long time. The Tokyo Yomi line is not over. There are many people holding lanterns on the river bank. But the first and deepest recall of kinship was blocked. The system prompts for an incoming cross-city channel. New cross-city principle, mourning is not recalling. The voice of the dead cannot be used as a source of instructions for the living. The return line to Huangquan is blocked. Deep in the fog on the other side of the river, a black door slowly emerged. There is Japanese writing on the door. Yellow Kwandu. Huangquan household registration. Lin Yao's eyes darkened. Echoes of the dead is just the first step. What Tokyo Mirror really wants to do is to establish a new household registration between the dead and the living. Turn condolences into a relationship check-in. Turn bad farewells into manageable links. And this will be more difficult to dismantle than Echo of the Dead. underscore 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 underscore.